Good morning, folks. We're back in week 5. We're talking about East Asian International Management. And not only are we wrapping up our talks about Chinese business management, where we've covered the introduction to international management, the introduction to East Asian management, and the initial first how to do business theories from around the world. But then there is the original how to do management, starting with the military soldiers with Sun Tzu's Art of War 2,500 years ago. And then we got into Guangxi, knowing that you guys should learn how to connect with others. I'm very happy to say that several students have contacted me recently, which is nice, but you should be contacting your teammates and your classmates in every class as much as possible to try to grow and develop. With that said, I'm not going to slow anybody down too much. Today, we have Jung Moon's team talking about his presentation. So, Jung Moon, would you like to share some of your thoughts and ideas?
Yes, if you give me a permission to share my screen, I can do that right now.
Okay. Yes, done. Anybody else that wants to share their screen, please contact Zhuang and she can set things up in advance. Go ahead, Jongmo. Anybody else want to share things today while he is getting ready? So Jongmo, Bulipek, Jekavir, and Humi.
See my screen?
Yes, I can. Literature review.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Well, we don't have group name, but our team member is Ulungbek Manabo and me, Jong Moon. We're going to do a literature review about the topic, understanding the influence of artificial intelligence in the tourism industry. Me and Ulungbek, we both prepared a presentation, but I'm not sure if Ulungbek can present today because he have a bad internet connection right now. So let's try, and if his internet connection is bad, we can try. So we have 9 articles from Scopius, which is most reliable sources in the world. So just know that we have reliable sources. Starting with the first article, realizing the potential of the Internet of Things for smart tourism with 5G and artificial intelligence. Actually, before I start talking about the articles, I think by talking about our articles, you can see our development of ideas about our topic, because we have looked through a lot of articles, Scopius and Google research, a lot of articles, but we have chosen few articles which cultivated our ideas to develop our topic. First one is realizing the potential of the Internet of Things for smart tourism with 5G and AI, which is published in 2020. Basically, it's talking about the significance of potential of artificial tourism. It can be very, very general. The first part, beginning part of this article was not that interesting because we can expect those kind of articles from other articles as well. They are talking about artificial intelligence can be beneficial to tourists and beneficial to managers and government as well. And artificial intelligence can be applied to self-guided tours, electronic navigation, smart shopping guide, fast information release. That was pretty the general idea that we could find on the other articles, but it gets interesting from the bottom part, which is talking about the framework of 5G and artificial intelligence empowered IoT system for smart tourism. Basically, they're explaining about how fast internet, which is 5G internet, can accelerate the use of artificial intelligence in the tourism industry. So if they have a fast internet than the other environment, they can collect big data more faster than other environments. They also have the result of the experiment which they did in the real world. Um, I cannot show you in here, but if you see the articles, it shows a comparison with the experiment on the environment on a 4G environment and 5G environment. And they did a experiment which one will collect the data faster. And the results shows that in the 5G environment, they can collect 10 times more than 4G environment, which they can, which means that they can use collect big data, and then they can develop artificial intelligence very well in these good environment, good internet environment. We just kept that idea in ourselves, and then we go to next articles. Title is a tourist attitude toward the use of artificially intelligence device in tourism service delivery, moderating rule of service value seeking, published in 2020. It says tourist AI adoption behavior differ across different service, and these differences are likely to be caused by tourist service value, hedonic or utilitarian orientation in different services. These articles has a limitation because they only did a research in the airline company, which is also within the tourism industry. But they also mentioned that is a limitation of the research, but they gave us some idea that use of artificial intelligence, acceptance of artificial intelligence can be different if the service is hedonic or utilitarian. If the a service is made for functional, people are more likely to use the artificial intelligence. But if it is more hedonic, people are reluctant to use these services. We found out that. Also, keep in mind we find that idea. And the next article talks about next article is adoption of AI-based chatbot for hospitality and tourism, published in 2020. And let's see. Yeah. Basically, it talks about the survey regarding chatbot for hospitality and tourism. It talks about the importance of the human touch. People say you can feel it very helpful from using a chatbot, but whenever they're, for example, whenever they're buying the air flight ticket, they find it very helpful for using the AI chatbot. However, whenever they're planning their travel, they more likely to use the human in order to get the specific informations. So they find out that even though AI chatbot can be beneficial, human touch is necessary. Then we go to next articles. AI chatbot for tourism recommendation, a case study in the city of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. This article was how can we say, just a case analysis of using AI chatbot in Saudi Arabia, because uh, I mean, it is pretty general idea that you can find on the other articles, but there was this catched my interest because Saudi Arabia, they have been using they have been made a lot of money by selling their oil. However, from the 2020, they started to change their plan called the post oil economy, which means that they're started to develop new business idea other than just selling their oil, which means they started to focus on developing tourism in their country. After looking through the ideas we found some interesting intercept. First articles, importance of internet environment, and second one, we realized that artificial intelligence, a use of artificial intelligence can be applied. Artificial intelligence acceptance can be different on different services. And third one, there's a human touch needed. Then we realized that maybe Saudi Arabia, which is the based on 2021 research by a British survey, they found out that Saudi Arabia has the fastest internet environment, 5G internet environment. I kind of expected that South Korea to be first, but which means that Saudi Arabia can be a really good place to start AI tourism because they had a good 5G internet conditions. They had they are aware of importance of developing tourism. So we start to think that maybe we should get more specific about our topic, whether to choose Saudi Arabia as a country for our topic, and if we need to choose the specific industry within the tourism industry, because if it is hedonic services, or if it is a utility, if it is functional, it can be different based on the services. From the next part, Ulungbek will present. Just let me know if your internet is still bad. Can you try?
Now I try to inform my parts, inform about Scopus articles. The next article is about a model for the development of innovative tourism products from service to transformation. As authors are Santos MC, Pereira A, Costa C, Santos JC, and it's published in Sustainability in Switzerland in 2021. This article is about the study so to develop a conceptual model of innovative tourism product development. And we have found this article in Scopus website. And can you move to the next slide, please?
Can you see the next slide?
I see Wei Si Wang and Han Fluk.
Okay, because he has a internet connection problem, I will continue. So next article is an application of artificial neural network optimization model in e-commerce platform based on tourism management, which was published in 2021. we found out that e-commerce and information technology in enhancing the competitiveness of the tourism industry and adapting to global economic integration. And the next one is innovativeness of tourism enterprises. Example of Poland. We found out that innovativeness of tourism sector in cross industry terms. Identify categories of innovations implemented by tourism enterprises with division by industry branches. The next one is uncovering innovativeness in Spanish tourism firms, the role of transformational leadership, OCB, firm size and age. Finding was transformational leadership, organization citizenship behavior, firm innovativeness, firm size, firm age, and tourism firms. Next one is innovation and development of rural leisure tourism industry using mobile, cloud, IoT computing. With the booming of IoT application in rural leisure tourism and integrated tourism, guidance will provide tourists with better information and thus make rapid improvement of geographical concentration index. Those are the references that we found. So please feel free to ask our critical, to have a critical questions.
What are some of the first comments I usually give everyone once a presentation is finished?
Okay, I can try. Let's start with the student. Can you comment or evaluate our presentation? Do you have any ideas, recommendations?
Which part of the world are we located in? Are we in an area with high uncertainty avoidance by any chance?
Yes, I didn't quite get the main idea of this topic. Like, is it the advantages of AI to the tourism industry or our influence of that?
Yeah, is understanding the influence of AI tourism industry. However, as we search more literature review, we start to think that maybe we should be more specific about our topic.
The more specific, usually the better. However, for me to complicate things even more, since you're young and you may want to change your careers going forward, you may want to work in this area or this area or this area. The very, very highly specific would probably say you're only teaching one area. Try to write your paper, try to develop your expertise so that each of these areas you love to work with in the future thinks that your paper is made for them. But, generally try to cover a couple of different areas to be safe as a young person. But go ahead, keep going.
Okay, what about Pia? Can you evaluate our presentation?
Yes, I liked it very much. I thought it was very good that you first you presented your findings and then you repeated your findings. That was really helpful because I remember that for a lot of presentations, when you keep talking, you forgot what was said. So that was really good. So it was really easy to remember and understand your actual findings. So yeah, compliments on that.
Awesome. Very perceptive. Yeah, good.
Thank you. And what about
just for other people to remember what they are talking about? Do you guys recall how I talked about it with a popular 3 characters, something about learning languages, and I was saying, remember I was saying you guys, it may help for you guys to follow the ESL method to say your English, but not as a second language. What was it that I was saying you to do?
we just if someone don't understand our first sentences, we can change into different words so that they can understand it.
Right. So my ESL phrase was not for English as a second language. It was for every English as a second language speaker or communications. But the ESL I was talking about is you should use your English on a second line with different words. So say things twice or use synonyms. That's a very good way to help make sure other people in other countries understand you. And from my experience, even in your home country, it may help. Good job. What else? How about, yes, sir, would you be able to remind the class what is Jung Moon's specialty? What does he teach the world? What is the lesson he's teaching the world?
With this presentation or the whole time?
Okay, I will be more specific. For him to become very successful, he should teach the world something new. What did he teach that's new?
In this presentation, right?
Yes.
Well, we probably taught the influence of AI in the tourism industry, but I guess I've heard this term before, so I feel like this is not like new term for me, I'd say. But yeah, it was really good that he mentioned some examples like URA in some countries.
Okay. Can anybody do that Samsung thing and offer 3 ways to change? The CEO of Samsung is famous for saying you need to always change. Samsung is successful only because they're always changing. The head of Samsung, again, was famous for saying you need to change everything except your family. So what are 3 things that Ulugh and Jungmoon can change other than Ulugh internet connection? Jakovir, can you give 3 ideas or suggestions for change?
I like the idea. Then the articles. I hope it will be very useful for them. Yeah.
We also put our contact information if you need.
What about what should the Saudi government do to overcome the hot weather? Because the weather of Saudi Arabia is what limits the tourism within the country, I think.
I thought I could answer that. I thought they're already doing that. They're making a lot of oil and gas to make lots of pollution in clouds. Cloud out the sun.
Well, so as I understand, what would government do in order to attract the tourists, even though they had a very hot climate? Is that right?
Yes.
I think that's a good answer. Actually, we didn't expect that we will search about the Saudi Arabia, but as we found like on the way to our topic, we started to realize that, oh, this can be the good option. So I think that that's a good point that we should consider about it if we are going to do if we're going to make our topic into related to Saudi Arabia. Thank you for commenting. I think we can consider that point.
Yeah. Can I ask you to be the Samsung top executives? Yell out 3 changes they must consider without destroying their face.
That's hard. Maybe the question, what can they do about it? I mean, if they look they look at the problems that they have, so maybe give some suggestions what could be changed in the future. Other than that, I thought it was really good. Maybe you could split the presentation into more topic-wise slides, but that's just little things. And I can't think of a third one right now.
Anybody want to give you guys any marks, or we just move on and say that they did a very good volunteer job?
Can I have a couple comments? So first, I think the literature review is very good. You get the latest papers, mostly 2020 and 2021, so that's good. And it's good you also listed out the limitation of the previous papers. So each paper has its limitation. So I would recommend suggest you to find out who is the target reader of the research and who is the target participant of the research. And so based on the limitation of the previous studies, so you can have your very fresh ideas, which is new and important for the tourism industry.
Thank you.
I think that helpful for also for the next step of the research, which you also have a plan for the survey, which you need to focus on who is the target participant attending the survey. Okay, and that's all. And the presentation is very interesting. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Great. I don't think anybody else is going to be presenting today. Is that right? Thomas, you said that you were going to present something, but next class, not this class. So if there isn't any other presenters, I, as always, will talk too much.
Professor?
Yes.
For the last, can you please evaluate our presentation? Can you give us 5 changes that can improve our presentation?
I will try my best. So, as you see here, I keep notes about every class and what we're talking about. Your topic, it was nice that you were presenting about understanding the AI and the tourism industry. Great. What exactly was the connection to class is one question. That's just not exactly for a big requirement. We should have something related to class, but it's much more important to relate it to your expertise, your specialization going forward. You had a good display of references. Great. I think everybody in class is starting to copy that style of making a chart, which is very wise, so that anybody else can copy and reference you. Great. Do you understand what I'm talking about? How making a chart, it's wise to have other people reference you. Pia, can you explain what I meant by that?
Sorry, I didn't pay attention right now.
Gee, thanks. It's nice to be loved. I see many people actually copying you, Pia. I think you were one of the first to show a lot of research, and you put all of your references, you put all of your research into a chart, which was easy for anybody else in the world to copy your chart and put it into their chart. And Jong-Moon is doing that same thing. He's showing many different researchers and where that research is coming from, which is nice, and what they're actually finding. Those findings is very good. Try to continue doing that. But now let's take a look at the references. Jong-Moon, you spent quite a bit of time explaining that your research was valuable. And you explained that it is Scopus, and you went on and you said it is some of the most respected in the world. Great. A lot of people don't know that, so now you're speaking their language, they should understand you. So since you asked, can I talk about change? Is it the best? So what I'm showing on my slide here, it says scimagojr.com. The easy way to understand this is science magazine or journal.com. So again, SEIMAGOJR. This is one way to identify journal rankings, country rankings, visualization tools, things like that. So if we go into this journal rankings, what we're talking about, this is showing what is respected. And I just grabbed one of your articles, and it was from the International Journal of Interactive Mobile Technology. So you type the name of the journal anywhere in here, and if it's listed, that's good. This website only shows top quality, respected information. So that one journal reference that you have, it is respected. Some people look at this H index. It's relatively new. I don't usually focus on it too much. I would suggest you try as new experts to focus on this. Do you see what I'm trying to show here, Jong-Moon? Do you see what it says? Can you read that for the class?
Subject area and category, computer science, computer
Right.
the keyword.
Yes, these are absolute keywords, but my question for you is this what you want to be a specialist in? Do you want to be a specialist in e-learning or computer science applications or computer network communications? Because this journal focuses on this subject area. And so people in this area, anybody in this area will see this and respect you more. It comes from Germany, great, we need to respect Germany, but that's not that important. Here's the homepage for the journal. If you want to publish there or get any information there, great. Jong-Moon and Ugebek, you're starting a very good paper. So please remember, once you're finished your paper, don't just do the loyal hard work and hand it in at the end of the class and then have the teacher throw it in the garbage. Try to publish it. You could very easily publish it in a student magazine, but this, let's see how good this journal is, because if it is the best in the world and you can publish there, great. You may want to publish at your level. So this is introducing that journal. This is talking about how to submit. And so all of this, what I'm showing on my screen, red means Q4. This lime color is Q2. And the orange is Q3. Green usually is Q1, but we don't have green Q1 here. The Q1 means it's the world's top quality. The lime, it means it's the world's second highest top quality. The orange means it's the third highest top quality journal, most respected journal in the world, level 3. And then level 4 is this red. For computer networks communication, computer science applications, or e-learning. So if, Jong-O, you want to specialize in any of these areas, this is an ideal place for you to try to target. However, since it says Q3, it's pretty advanced. And if this is going to be your first time publishing, maybe you want to go for something that might be easier, which might be something like a Q4. And so if we see exactly how good it is, we're probably getting beyond the scope of this class, but these citations per document, especially the 2-year citations per document, that's how many people read and reference each story every month on average for 2 years. So this is saying you have 2.243 people referencing this journal every month on average for 2 years. And that's actually pretty high, because the Harvard Business Review, for example, is generally about 1. So this is 2.2 times more respected, more reliable than the Harvard Business Journal. So anyway, that's just something to take a look at. The other thing that I wanted you guys to check, if you want to develop your specialization, is how you're working. So you're working by finding out what other people say. Great. This journal that we found, you found that it is a level 3 world's top quality, which the only thing that's really important for you guys is it is highly respected, no questions asked. but what is the most respected in your area? Jungmoon, I assume if you're focused on tourism and our class on international management, you can go through and you can see here any subject area you want to get into. So there's many subject areas you can go through, but we'll focus on business and management. And then the next area, inside business and management, you could focus on accounting or industrial relations, but for our class, we're focused on the international management. So if we focus on that, this shows the world's best, most respected journal. Number one, that's the Academy of Management, blah, blah, blah. Number two, also Academy of Management, blah, blah, blah. And if you keep going through, there's about 6 different Academy of Management journals. So the easiest thing for you guys to remember is anything that says the Academy of Management, that's usually top quality. And then there's the Strategic Management Journal, Journal of Marketing. Those are also good. These are Q1, as I was saying. And it's not really important, but where they're from. However, since you are a student and this is new and you're trying to grow your career in China or Japan or Korea or anywhere in the world, people have a common respect for people that are published. If you have 2 people together and they seem identical twins, except one has published something, you usually respect the person that's published more than the other person. And surprisingly, even if they're identical twins, and the first twin number 1 has a university marks at 95%, and the twin number 2 has marks at 75%, 20% lower, 75 versus 95%. But publications, most people would pick that twin number 2 because he's published, or more practical, or more proven than the person that just has the marks. And that person would be used as a consultant or used as an advisor or used to join a company rather than just the high marks. So try to publish your materials. And as we said here, all of these journals, there's 420 through 428 that you can have this listing of international management focused alone journals. It starts at Q1, then it goes to Q2, Q3. We're just ending Q3. All of the rest of these are Q4. So if you go through and find, for example, Global Business and Economics Review, that might relate to tourism and it's Q4, it might be very easy or easier for you to publish it. Or Asian Journal of Business and Accounting, etc. You keep going through this until you find something that relates to your interest for the future and then publish in something like that. Is that understood, Ulukbek and Jung Moon?
Yes.
It's just extra suggestion how you can be extra better. But I also heard that in your notes, you were talking about Saudi Arabia had the fastest internet, and you're using these great research references. Let's check again. Internet. Do you see what I'm highlighting here? Ha ha ha. I'm going to tear you up and argue with you. Saudi Arabia is the fastest internet, so you say, but this is a new study that just came out. It says the world's fastest internet speeds. Over here, Saudi Arabia, where is Saudi Arabia? Somewhere around here. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia is 150. It's definitely faster than Zimbabwe, but what is faster than 150? South Korea, China, many other places. So if we keep going down, this says the world's fastest is Singapore, number 1. And Singapore is also super famous for tourism. Hong Kong, also, Singapore's internet speed is 262 megabytes per second. And we saw earlier that Saudi Arabia is 150. So there's several reasons I can fight with you. How do you defend yourself? How can you, what would you say if I said everything you just said is probably a lie because here's my proof? You're lying.
Maybe it will be better if I have share a recent survey and the resources by the reliable publisher.
Anybody remember what I said in the very first class? How you can answer that question? What is good? What is bad? I'm showing this and I'm arguing this is good, but who made this? What is this? Let's go back to that first week when I was talking about this. What is this talking about? Yeah, sir. Do you remember what this is talking about? Once.
I think he was talking about the reference.
Yeah, the best references in the world. And thank you for that. So thank you for paying attention to my class. Some people are too busy drinking coffee and not listening to me, right? Pia, Jong can you use this to help put me in my place and laugh at me and tell me or tell the world how I'm so full of crap? I said, you're full of crap because I found this on Wikipedia. And now I'm showing you what?
Well, I can argue because my sources was the my sources was reviewed by the international experts before publishing. My source was published by the British.
Versus and mine. What is mine?
Yeah,
It's not Wikipedia, but this says visualcapitalist.com.
Yeah.
And over here, what is the .com saying?
Highly likely to promote yourself. Right, yeah.
And no international expert peer reviews.
However,
So,
yeah, it's my fault that I didn't like mentioned about these sources. It was my fault.
No, you did. You said you were using Scopus, which is very reliable, highly trusted, some of the best in the world. Great. So what you did is perfect. Maybe I'm attacking you too much. How about Thomas? Help them out. Let's say you are an executive partnering with Ulugh and Jong-un, and you just finished presenting that presentation, and I say, you guys are liars because you said Saudi Arabia is the fastest in the world, but I just found this yesterday, and this says Saudi Arabia is at a, oops, it changed now. It was saying 150 megabytes per second. And where is it? I thought it said Qatar, Somalia, Kuwait. Yes, Saudi Arabia here. So Saudi Arabia has 150 megabytes per second. However, the fastest in the world is Singapore, which has like 100 megabytes per second faster. 262 megabytes per second is the fastest in the world. Saudi Arabia isn't even in the top 10. So I'm laughing at you, Thomas. What can you say?
Well, I would probably say that with what we know, we still stay behind what we said, and that we would have to see more reliable sources to be able to like compare it better. But we will definitely look into it later after the presentation.
Okay, that's a very polite way. That's an amazing international management person. You didn't make me feel bad. You didn't make anybody else feel bad. I want somebody to get a black eye. Are you going to give Jong-un a black eye, or are you going to give me a black eye? Talk blunt. Somebody, anybody in the class, make somebody look bad. And I say that because I'm pretty confident it shouldn't be Jong-un. What? Thomas, do you want to reword your phrase? Like what I showed here from .com. Is
Yeah,
here,
I
right?
would just say that like he has much more reliable source. So as long as you do not like show more proof for what you said before, then I would still agree with Jungamoon.
Right. Oh, okay. Awesome. So almost all companies, governments, even universities, they're not going to say the bad stories. They're only going to say what they think is interesting to promote themselves, usually, especially CNN, BBC. They only say part of the story that they hear about that might be interesting for the world. And they don't have people checking the details. They may have an editor to make sure that the spelling is correct or something like that, but they're not an international expert in that field reviewing the facts before it goes published. So my information might be nice, but it's not checked by experts. And these are usually also blind peer reviewed. And I'm not talking about people that can't see and have to have black glasses and a white cane. I'm talking about whatever you write, they take your name off and then they send it to other experts that don't know who wrote it. So they're blind so that they can't give preferential treatment or biases towards other people. Anyway, we're getting into a little bit too much detail now, but I'm very impressed with everybody in class. You have been developing good research. Try to connect it to your specialization. More specifically, if you want to get in with a company or an organization, try to connect it to that organization. And then make sure you not only show a good table that the common person might like and reference, but be prepared for arguing. You might want to have something like this, because just presenting your information, it's good information, but the best way to get really popular, especially now 2021, 2022, is different. I started talking to you guys about Sun Tzu Art of War. That's 2,500 years ago. And I think that was before the internet was created. And now with coronavirus in 2021, 2022, I also think that most people on the planet are living online on the internet, which is different than long time ago. Long time ago, you couldn't find experts easily. You just had to trust whoever you met, period. And if they said something, you believe them. Nowadays, people don't believe anybody. Even if an expert is in front of them and they say something, the listener is going to go onto Wikipedia and check, or go onto their TikTok or their social media and check what their friends think. Do they agree? And so be prepared to present this online. Maybe if you had a video and shared that online, you would be getting much better results. I have had organizations in Japan and in Korea and in India contact me because of videos, YouTube videos I've had. And surprisingly, here's related to class, I've had companies and schools in China contact me and give me jobs, offer jobs, because of my YouTube videos. Pia, do you know why that's really shocking? The answer is, go ahead.
Maybe because you talk so much about the art of war and Guangxi, but also in a not very biased way. So you try to give both sides. So maybe that's shocking.
Thank you for promoting me, but the actual answer is China supposedly doesn't have Google very much, and they don't really use YouTube. They have the UQ, which is the Chinese version. Same as in Korea, we don't usually use Google, most Koreans, they use Naver or Daum. So each country, especially in East Asia, they follow their own system, not just the global system. And in most of the global world uses YouTube, they use Google, but not so much in China. They have their own. Like in Korea, who else can we? UNO. You should be very well aware of this. What search engine is, Google is one of the world's biggest, most popularly used search engines. Talk to us about Korea. Is most searches on the internet done through Google in Korea?
Maybe they have some much portion of Google, but the neighbor is the neighbor is well the top search engine in South Korea, I think.
Yes, some of the reports I've seen say that 96% of internet searches in Korea are done by Naver. Only 4%, close to 96%, a little bit less than that. About 4% of internet searches in Korea are done by Google. A little bit more is done by Daum and other organizations. But yes, Google is not known well in Korea at all. So be aware of those types of things. That's good. I should probably stop talking about this, but I think you get my point. Get ready to continue developing your specializations, develop it and try to give it to the organization you want. But while you develop it in a way so that other people might pick up on it and help you in the future also. When I went to school, when I was basically at your level of development, everybody around me was talking about getting a job, and almost no one was thinking about just getting a temporary job. Everybody was usually focused on getting a job for life. And when I was studying East Asia, that was super famous. It was like, no questions. You get a job in Japan, that job is guaranteed to take care of you and your family and kids for life. So that has changed. Now with 2021, 2022, lifelong jobs are disappearing. And at the same time, everyone is online. So start promoting yourself for your specialization, but at the same time, do it in a way that other opportunities may be able to come and help with you. So with that said, let's just take a little bit more time to review some of these details. The idea of Guangxi, we talked about. How about, is there anybody in class that wants to volunteer what Guangxi means and how you can work with it? Just to review the importance of it. Anybody in class?
Yeah, we talked about it on our presentation. So Guangxi is basically building or how to build a network and how to connect with people and how to use this not only for your own benefit, but also how to give back to the person that you basically got a favor from. So it's building connections and gaining momentum from it.
And is it just in China? In the textbook we have, if you can see me, this textbook, Asian Management Systems. This was published a while ago, and one of the questions sent to the author was talking about why should we really care about Guangxi? It's only, some people from Harvard were saying it's only a Chinese networking type activity. Any comments? Is this just the Chinese thing? More specifically, do you think Donald Trump doesn't do anything with Guangxi, for example?
I think it's everywhere around the world.
Can you explain more?
Because it's not only in China, definitely, because everyone has their own connection. Like you can look at other cultures and they have all the, I guess they don't call it guanxi, just like Chinese people, but they have this type of concept in every other culture. Since we have since we speak, since we have friends, since we have work and school, I guess this is definitely the fact that every culture has a guanxi on its own design or structure.
And what about, rather than just saying every culture has guanxi, if you are going to teach your kids, if you're going to teach your friends, if you're going to teach other specialists about guanxi, is this something you teach just for China? That's question number one. Question number two, do you have to teach face? What is this thing about face? Do people in New York have to learn Guangxi? Do people in New York have to learn what is face? Anybody in class?
I think in order to something like have the Guanxi culture, I think there should be some two conditions in the society. First is reciprocity, friendly culture, and second is something like a culture that gives pressure to individuals, or something like cultural pressure that fosters and encourage the reciprocity. So when someone does not do reciprocity to others, that society might pressure the individual to to take disadvantage, social disadvantage. So I think these kind of factors are important to the formation of Ponzi system. Maybe I think the China has, not only China, but I think uh, Korea has maybe similar systems, similar cultures to the Chinese Ponzi, and in several other countries, but not all over the world.
So anybody want to help me out? Because I'm about to start attacking somebody. I'm about to start attacking UNO. Thomas, you have a pretty big smile. You want to be nice and help UNO since you are a very polite communicator before I jump on his head?
Well, I would say that like the idea started in China, and that it is maybe that people in China are more aware of it, so they use it more for their benefits. However, I would still say that it is all around the world, but people maybe aren't aware of how to call it sometimes.
Good. Can anybody think of an example of one individual that became super successful or super famous just by that person's alone? Nobody else, no other network, no other connection helped that person grow. What about Bill Gates? Isn't Bill Gates just super smart? Did he just make all of Microsoft just because of his brains and just because of his hard work? You guys hopefully know that Bill Gates' mother is like on a board of directors of most organizations in his community, including the schools. And so Bill Gates was living right beside a university that most people had to have access or a student card to get in, but because Bill Gates's mother is so powerful, he was able to get in and out of that university that had the very first computers in the world anytime he wanted. And so every weekend when other schools were closed, he still was able to go in and play with the computers. Isn't that a network, using your mom's network to a almost unrelated organization that helped him grow? So be aware that the more networks you have, especially nowadays in 2021, where very soon you're going to see people on the other side of the world can do things just as well as you can. So why are people only focused on hiring somebody from New York? Why are people only focused on hiring somebody from Silicon Valley when there's 1.3 billion people in India that are definitely studying harder, studying more on average than in North America, and their pay is like 100 times cheaper? And so if they do work, they continue to work really, really hard to keep some sort of advantage, while a North American person might be so comfortable they become complacent. What is a good way to define what is complacent? Anybody understand? Complacent means you get to a comfortable level and then you just relax. You don't continue to struggle to keep going up. Versus if you're at a lower level of life, you always keep struggling, keep fighting to grow. And that higher person that is relaxed might fall off of their position because of complacency. So that's one aspect. It's important everywhere, and it's increasingly important because everybody now is connected. And you are competing now with these poor and starving people from around the world, that some of them are amazing people, good, very smart, hardworking people. Be aware. What about face? Why should we care about face? What is the liang and miangzi? To help just speed this up, liang is just your behavior, but the miangzi is something valuable that can be achieved and earned, like a status symbol or a status in society. And so your behavior and image, and the miangzi, you can modify that, because the higher level in society you look, many people in the world will notice that. Now that you can interact with 8 billion people, how do you know who's good? How do you know who's bad? How do you know who's full of shit or who's really got good research? Most people don't know what Scopus is. Most people don't know about Wikipedia. Used to be really bad because crazy people were saying anything. But nowadays, research shows it's almost more truthful than like a Bible. So how do you know what's good and bad? Many people will check out just your image. And so in East Asia, in China, and much more so in Japan, and much more so in Korea, image is super important. That's why you'll see so many people using the brand name clothes. Because if you don't go to their home and see how really they live, you can only check their clothing or their car or their watch or their technology that they're showing in public. So they're using that to create an image. Some people do it. I know very, very close family that's not very rich, but they gave their son that just graduated university, a graduation present was a BMW 7 Series, like a 735 BMW, almost the top of the line BMW. But again, I repeat, the family is not rich. The family is not wealthy. They're borrowing a heck of a lot of money just to help their son look good, get a good job, get a good wife and things like that. So be aware that idea of face, it is very important here, but it's also important around the world. How can you control your face when you're dealing with people online? Something to think of. We also talked about prices. In New York, we said that the price of things is probably going to be much, much higher for the exact same quality of items. Like I've got a pen here that looks like a gold pen in front of me. And since it looks gold, in New York, you could say this is worth $1,000. But in China, they might sell this for $1. And we understand why. What are the advantages and disadvantages of both? Thomas, can you explain? What is the Chinese way of pricing things and why?
Well, I would say that, like, because it is.
Your internet's kind of cutting out. What about Janice? Sorry, Jasser. Could you comment on this?
I didn't quite get your question. Can you repeat that again?
So this pen in front of me, it looks like a gold pen. And so in New York, you could probably easily find a gold pen in New York for sale, and they're trying to ask for $1,000. So Americans will sell this for $1,000, but the same pen in China, they may sell for $1. Why? What is the good points and bad points of each? Anybody in class?
Yes, we
Can
talked
I
about
answer,
this.
Professor?
I heard Pia first. Go ahead, Pia.
Yeah, we talked about economies of scale, I think. So China basically has a lot of contacts around the world who they can sell this pen to and make a lot of money with it. And the Americans basically sell the pen for a lot of money, but they also have to protect the Chinese suppliers. So they both get wealthy this way.
Okay, that's
Kind of.
two different things. Economy of scale is one thing. The more you make, and in China, they can make a lot more. There's more people around. That's good. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. It looks like the internet's kind of going a little crazy. Can you guys still hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
So what I was trying to show is that the economies of scale is one thing. Being able to just sell many, many, many for 10 cents is better than selling only one for $1,000. Because number one, it's the economies of scale. Number two, if you lose that customer, then the Chinese are still protected, still strong. And another thing that's even more important in China and in Korea and Japan, you're trying to protect your family, you're trying to protect your loyalty. And so you create very strong relationships. You create very strong guangxi so that your customer, you help grow, but then in exchange, he helps you grow. So while that person grows, that helps pull you up also. When you create things, you give the benefit to your boss or your customer, and then your customer can pull you up also. If you're working, selling something like this, and you give benefit to somebody in government, if that person in government becomes very powerful in government, he can create laws to help you. Like in some countries, they were saying banking laws are created now so that other people can't compete with the Chinese. My internet's going a little funky right now.
We also, it's time for us to wrap up our class. Time is a little bit over, so we can wrap up today.
I just wanted to say a couple of other things. Any of you that are trying to go ahead and beyond, like Jungho Moon is doing, you should be aware that we have many different files that you can share in our class outline. And one of the files is this how to survey, because this is week 5. Week 6, 7, 8, and 9 is focused on surveying. If you want to read through this file, it's a pretty long file, but it shows, everybody is aware of Hofstede. This is showing how you can survey, the types of questions you should be asking, other great examples. And this VSM 08, this is Hofstede's survey questions to create as Hofstede's 4 cultural dimensions. And so you can go through and see what are good questions, what are bad questions, and it goes through and it actually shows examples of an article that is really good, written also by Hofstede, but it's just referencing 2 books. Where is it here? This is one book he's referencing. Here's another book he's referencing. He's saying that in China, they manage this way. And in Russia, they manage this way. And then he surveyed a class with 25 students. 5 of them were from the USA, 5 of them from Denmark, 5 from India, 5 from China. And he's showing how each person has different values. Like the personal wealth is very, very important over here, but it's not important in Denmark and in China. So India and USA have a lot of things in common, but other countries are different. But so that's one thing. It's a very easy research essay to say, but also look at the references. He has many references, 1 solid page of references, and a lot of them are from very good, reliable Scopus journals that we talked about. But check Asia Pacific Journal of Management, Asia Pacific Journal of Management, Asia Pacific Journal of Management. There's so many from this journal that he targeted to publish in, it almost guarantees he's going to get published. Number 2, how many times does he promote himself? This idea, Hofstede, Hofstede, Hofstede. You know, he's promoting himself like a dozen times. So anything that does get published, it promotes himself. It makes him important. So start thinking about those things. It's kind of complex. We will talk about it more in other weeks. But hopefully those are good things to think of. And again, the name of this article is Asia Management in the 21st Century. It is a respected but free online article anybody can reference. Any other questions before we go? No? Thanks. Have a good weekend. Please stay in touch.